but the NBA playoffs are also right around the corner. One team that was expected to not only be in the playoffs, but be a title contender this year, Cam, was Philly, the Sixers.
Man, the hopes,
yeah,
the wishes, bringing in Paul George, him rocking the number 8 jersey because of Kobe, the number 8, and you think that obviously what we saw from Tyrese Maxey last year, know that Joel Embiid was dealing with the knee, but still was dominant despite them being bounced out of the first round of the playoffs against the New York Knicks. 33, 10, and 5 assists with a bad knee.
That's pretty good.
It's pretty good for a guy that was less than 50%, I believe, out there playing.
Sure.
So,
for sure.
Just a tough season for
I
Philly.
mean, if you're Philly, you can only have one good team at a time, right? Eagles won the Super Bowl.
Well, the Phillies are good too. So.
Yeah, okay. But the Sixers have not won since the Eagles won the Super Bowl. So maybe put a little curse on their fellow team here. It has not been great. But we are going to be talking right now to Marc Jackson, who joins us, former NBA player, played for the Sixers for a couple of years, and now covers them for NBC Philly. Marc, we appreciate you taking the time to jump on with us today. It's been a rough year in Philly, and something that I'm sure the Philly media, yourself as a former player, didn't quite expect. How would you just overall kind of recap what has gone on this season in Philadelphia?
Injuries. Injury after injury after injury. This season has been a very disappointment for everyone involved, mainly the two guys who've been hurt the most, Joel Embiid and Paul George. No one's seen this kind of injuries going. You see Joel getting nicks and bruises here and there. That's what he does. But to start the season like this and now be ruled out for the season, and then to add assault to injury, Paul George, has been so disappointing.
Yeah, and I'm with you right there, Mark, and sharing that disappointment with Paul George, because you would think with this situation, obviously, him turning down the contract with the Clippers to run it back with them and going to Philly, and you would think that with Paul George, Tyrese Maxey, who's really just grown the past couple of years with his Philadelphia 76ers team and his role in the NBA, and also Joel Embiid, that this is a team that you would have to look out for, but it's been the opposite. And you're a Philly guy. You're from Philly, born and raised, played at Roman Catholic, played at Temple. You, as Kate mentioned, played for the 76ers for a couple of seasons. Are you just looking at the basketball guys like, what are you doing in my city? Why are you doing this to us?
Yeah, that's a great point, man. Listen, so a lot of media people that be covering these teams are not necessarily from the city. I was born, raised, and went to elementary, junior high, and high school, all on Broad Street, which is the largest straight street in America, right within walking distance of the Wells Fargo Center. So, and I live in Center City. So I'm amongst the people. I am the people, part of the people here. So, it's just it's like we have this saying here, we just can't have nice things. Meaning things just can't fall our way here in the city sometimes, and this is proof of it. We win a Super Bowl, that takes some of the burden off the Sixers, but looking at what's happened to the Sixers, what has been done, the basketball guys hate us so much, and the Philly fans here are just irate. I'm going to tell you, for the 76ers' sake, it's just such a blessing that the Eagles won the Super Bowl, that they're giving the Sixers a pass and not being as irate as they normally can be.
Mark, what is next for Joel Embiid? I know he is out the rest of this season, but how much fear or worry is there that he could miss not only portions of early next season, but maybe the entire season if he has to have an extensive surgery in order to fix all these ailments?
The reality is, Joel has been struggling with his knee for the last couple of years, right? Then you go back to when Kuminga fell on his knee and he had to be out for the year, but then he somehow miraculously got himself healthy enough to play in the Olympics. But then when this season started, it just looked like something wasn't right. And they've been trying to play catch-up ever since. So what's next for the 76ers, Joel Embiid? That's what everybody wants to know. He made a statement in national media maybe about a month ago. His knee is not right. He may need another surgery to get it 100% right, which caught everybody by surprise because no one ever knew this. No one knew that was the case. So for them to put it out there to the national media like that, had everybody scratching their head hold on, what's really going on? And that just put the press on the 76ers and Joel Embiid, so tell us the truth, what's going on? So people are sitting here scratching their head. Does he need another surgery, or is something else going on that the Sixers fans and faithful don't know about? They're asking the same thing. What's next? So now I see a bunch of stuff coming out from people. Is his career over? He's going to miss next year? Well, what happens if he can't play next year also? It's just more questions arose.
Yeah, and despite all the injuries and obviously the situation with Joel Embiid, I think the one bright spot for you, Mark, and everybody in Philly with this team is that Tyrese Maxey continues to get better. Like, it's one thing to have a guy transition roles from being a role player, right, kind of secondary guy, but I felt that with this situation coming into the season that Maxey, to me, was the 1A guy, obviously with Embiid hampered, but he's been a guy that has been so consistent and even averaging a career-high 27 points per game. What have you seen from Maxey that he's improved upon this year and how he's taken another step in his great career?
Well, it's interesting you say that. When Joel Embiid was making his comeback, everybody's like, oh, is everyone going to be able to score and be as effective around Joel Embiid? And I said, that's not the question no more. Listen, the best ability is availability. So when Joel Embiid was out, all I was saying is the tide has changed. This is now Maxey's team. So the question is, can Embiid be who he is to better play with Maxey? And when you put those two together, Maxey has proven he's here and he's trying to win. He has this beautiful smile, and he has his mentality as ball is life. So when the fans of the Sixers look at this team, they look at this team as Maxey's team. How are we going to go? We're going to go as far as Maxey can take us until Joel Embiid can get right, if that ever happens again. So the positive thing is Maxey has stepped up to the calling of trying to lead this franchise. The most important question now is, do they have the pieces surrounding him that can hopefully make this team make a run for that 10th spot in the play-in tournament?
Yeah, and also just a side note, I don't know how he was left off the Eastern Conference All-Star team, especially what he was able to do, Mark, but I'm not trying to have you really go off right now. I'm not trying to take you there.
Absolutely, man. It's a travesty. But, we got to censor ourselves. We can't say what we want to say.
We're talking with Marc Jackson, former NBA player, played for the Sixers and now covers them for NBC Philly. Mark, you mentioned, maybe the Sixers trying to sneak into that 10th spot. Do they want to do that? Or is this a team that is looking at next year in terms of, like, let's try and get a good draft pick. Let's try and keep that top 6 protected pick and, dare I say, lose some games down the stretch here?
That's a good question. So people say, oh, well, let's get the draft pick, and let's just tank. So nobody wants to use the word tank. Nobody wants to say it. That's the word tank. But I remind people, in order to tank, you need the players to tank. Mm-hmm. So in order for you to tank, you have to sit Maxey, Paul George, and Kelly Oubre and Yabusele. Because those four, other than Paul George, the other three have been playing very good basketball this year. So you're not going to tank or be put in a position to get that draft pick while those 4 guys are playing. So in order for that to happen, you have to walk to Paul George and say, hey, man, you've been healthy this year. We need you to sit out the rest of the year. I don't know what Paul would say, but you got to go up to Yabusele, who's been playing great, and say, hey, Yaba, we need you to sit out. Yaba's like, no way. This is my contract year. I owe Real Madrid money. I came here on a pay cut, and I owe them another $1.5 million, so I'm not sitting out. Then you got to go to Oubre, who's playing lights-out basketball, and say, hey, your energy is infectious. The way you play hard, we need you to stop that and sit out. And then you got to go to Maxey. Maxey, we need you to sit out. Nothing's wrong with you, but we need you to sit out so we can tank. None of those guys are going to do that. And then that's going to cause an internal conflict. And you can try to get that draft picks you want, but you risk losing the guys for the future. And that means you might end up losing Maxey because he didn't come here to be part of no tanking situation.
Yeah, it's a very interesting situation there, Mark, and I love how you laid that all out. But just speaking of the possibilities for Philly with this upcoming draft, I mean, who really impresses you, and who do you think it would be a really nice fit for Philly if, you could be in the position to draft a guy that fits perfectly for this team?
Everybody's talking about Cooper Flagg. Cooper Flagg's an incredible player. I've been playing against him since he was 14 years old in the ADU circuit, my personal ADU team. So I'm very familiar with Coop. But Coop is going to be number 1 pick, hands down. But then you look at Dylan Harper, you look at Ace Bailey, you look at those guys. If you can get that high into the draft, what you want to be, the draft's going to be really nice because there's a few prospects in Europe that people don't even know of that's going to be top 10 picks that people don't even know of. We got there's another 6'8" guard from France, somebody who's under the radar. Check out the 6'8" point guard from BYU, from Spain. he is a top 5 pick. There's so many guys in this draft pick that can fit well with this situation here. But the most important thing, they just need talent. Do they need another big guy? I don't think so. But I truly believe they need another guy who can be a long wing guy to come off that bench or maybe come into the starting lineup and give us something. So this 76 team needs youth. But with that being said, I don't think they're going to get high enough to get in that top 5 or get in that top 6, even though they may say they might. But the fact is, there's some talent in that top 6. You take out Ace Bailey, you take out Dylan Harpin, you take out Cooper Flagg. There's still 3 more that are worthy of being top 2, top 3 picks in this draft. So this Sixers team are looking for lift, and they're looking for stability and guys that are healthy that can shoot the ball. That's what they're looking to get in their draft.
Yeah, one of those guys you talk about the other names outside of Cooper Flagg, Ace Bailey, and also Dylan Harper. VJ Etchcomb of Baylor is one of those names for me that really stands out and really good, a guy out of Baylor that is athletic. But just thinking about this situation and if he lands to you guys, Mark, in Philly, but I think Dylan Harper would be a great fit for Philly and taking Tyrese Maxey off the ball at that size is 6'6". So I'm just throwing it out there. Maybe I'm just trying to, send a message to the basketball guys because you guys have been suffering in Philly for a little while in terms of just the injuries that you've had for this team this season.
Hey, we need something. We need something to go in our favor that relies on the basketball portion. We really got the football guys already blessed us with Saquon, and we run a Super Bowl. Now we need the basketball guys to grant us the exact same way. Grant us a favor. We need it.
Mark, we saw a matchup between the 2 top teams in the East last night, Celtics and Cavs. We're split on this show. Some of us here are not quite believers all the way in the Cavs. Others think that they could make a deep run. Can you help us, decide which side we should be on? And we got about a minute left for that answer.
So let me tell you this. Boston are defending champs. Boston have a complete roster. But the thing that's under the radar what Cleveland Cavaliers did, Cleveland Cavaliers, out of all the teams in the league, have the best front court defenders in the NBA. Andre Allen and Mobley. But take this into account. They went and got a trade and got Hunter. Hunter's another 6'8", 6'9" guy who can guard Tatum, who can guard Brown, who can shoot the 3, and who can get buckets. They needed another guy with length that can do it on both ends of the floor. They have the smallest backcourt out of any of the playoff contending teams, but they got the largest front court that are mobile. And then with the progress of Mobley to have gotten better, they got more mobile. Let me tell you something. I'm saying Cleveland is the team to beat out of the East because of their front court power and because of the addition of Hunter.
Okay, that splits the vote. I think it's decided. Cleveland, the team to beat in the East. Mark, we appreciate you taking the time to jump on with us. Thanks for all your insight, and we will talk to you again sometime soon.
Absolutely. Y'all have a wonderful day.
You as well. All right, Cam. You heard it from a man who's played in the NBA.
And
He's covered the NBA.
He had a good argument, too.
Yeah, he did. He really did.
Yeah.
And he brought up a great point of DeAndre Hunter coming from Atlanta to Cleveland. That was a great trade for this Cavaliers team because at the end of the day, we see this every single season. No matter, and especially what sport it is, but especially basketball, teams gear up and construct their rosters to beat the NBA champion or that reigning champion.
That's in any sport, right?
Yeah,
like
that's what I'm saying. Like any sport, like they do that. And so
right.
that's the situation for the NBA where you're trying to load up with wings and forwards that can defend. The New York Knicks are a great example of that. Trading for Mikal Bridges. You're getting OG Anunoby paired with Josh Hart because they're preparing against the Boston Celtics. You're trying to slow down Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. But now with Cleveland, with DeAndre Hunter, with Evan Mobley, who's ranging, can guard 1 through 4 in situations. You have Donovan Mitchell, who's a capable defender as well. You have Isaac Okoro, guys that are there that can really make life tough for Brown and Tatum. That's what you gear up for. And the Cleveland Cavaliers front office pushed all their chips in.
Yeah, they did.
They're like, we're all in. This is our move. This is our time. And that was a big trade for DeAndre Hunter. And
Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell are playing together this season. There is no butting heads of those two or their play styles contradicting each other. They've been phenomenal together, and I think that's also a huge difference from last season because they just didn't quite know how to share the court together at times, which was talked about a lot. Talked about maybe one of them leaving in the offseason. Not the case. They've kind of refocused, and I mean, after hearing Marc did not hesitate at all about the Cavs.
And
So
I'm not going to argue against a guy that is 6'10", 270
yeah,
pounds.
I don't think either of us
And
should,
from Philly.
Cam.
Like, they're built different
Not
out in
only
Philly.
that,
I'm not
he's
doing
just
that.
from Philly. Philly guys, yes, they are tough.